All right, guys. So, injured foot from my wreck at Tahuya. It's feeling a lot better. I'm walking on it. I promised my wife I would not get out there and ride on single track until after I had better boots so that when I crash again, I don't injure my foot or ankle worse than I did this time. I got really, really lucky this time. So, because I promised you guys that I would start uploading videos more, and people seem to be liking watching my videos now. All right, skip all that and let's get started with the video.
Then we got into some really loose stuff, and I popped the clutch when I should not have popped the clutch, and up. Killed it. Whew, that's tall.
All right, guys, let me know what you think of the introduction, little 33-second introduction video that I made. I just kind of grabbed some sections of footage and threw them together, and yeah, I like it. I think it turned out good. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Why dual sport and adventure motorcycling for me is something that I enjoy doing. There's a lot there. I typed up some things that I'm gonna read to you guys to try and keep myself on track, because otherwise this will be like a 3-hour video of me rambling. So here it goes. Okay, so the first question is why I enjoy motorcycle, like dual sport and adventure riding. Dual sport and adventure riding for me is something that allows me to do anything that I want to do on a motorcycle. For me, going super fast and hitting the apex on every corner, I've been there, done that. You know, you do that for a little while. For me, anyway, there are other people out there that love it. Like, that is why they ride, and more power to them. If you love riding sport bikes, if you love riding cruisers, if you love riding just dirt bikes and you have no interest in riding on the street at all, that's fine. No judgment from me. For me, this is all from my point of view, from my perspective, things, my personal opinions and feelings towards this area of riding. But we're not talking about my experience riding sport bikes. We're talking about dual sports. See what I mean about the rambling, guys? I got to go back to the notes. What is the thrill of riding off-road? You know, what is the point of riding off-road if you're not going to ride something that's purpose built to ride off-road? You know, why would you get something that can do two things? Why not just get a dirt bike? And if you just have a dirt bike, you have something that is built specifically for the application that you are using it for, riding off-road in the dirt. And owning a dirt bike for me, even now, even after having dual sports and adventure bikes and riding with guys that ride on dirt bikes, I'm still not interested in having a dedicated dirt bike. And I've owned several Jeeps, and I loved off-roading in my Jeeps. And that was kind of the logic that he used in the discussion, because he kept saying, dude, you got to get a dual sport. You got to get something to go ride with me. You know, you got to go ride with me. We'll go camping off the bike. We'll go do these adventures. We'll have a great time. And I kept thinking, why? I don't have an interest in riding a dirt bike. And the dual sport thing, why would I do that? And he said, I don't know. Why do you drive your Jeep off-road? Good point. You know, that was the first motorcycle that I ever jumped, was my Gen 1 KLR 650. We found a jump, well, not really a jump, but like a ramp, while we were out riding near Greenwater, Washington. And I saw it and I went, ooh, I used to jump my bicycles all the time growing up. I wonder if I can jump this thing. So I did it once and failed. And it just wasn't a very impressive jump. And then I did it a second time and I caught some good air. And then I did it a third time, and then I did it a fourth time. And I was having fun jumping, riding back around, jumping the bike again, riding back around. Unfortunately, my tire pressures were fairly low. And one of the times that I came down while jumping the bike, I landed on a rather large rock on the rear wheel, and it dented the rear wheel. And I am very impressed that it did not pop the tube. Wow. So, phone call from Cassandra, and 21 minutes, I think, of rambling that was not typed into the script. I typed myself a script. I've got fancy spacing in here so that I can try and find my spot and stay on track. Didn't even look at the computer. Read like 3 lines in and then went off on a tangent. So, to get myself back on track, we're gonna do this, and we're going to cut. And I will find a spot to cut earlier in the video and save you guys some of this time. So we are going to go here. So anyway, camping off the bike and adventure riding off the bike, 2 things I had never, or adventure riding on the bike and camping off the bike, 2 areas I had never ridden before. I had no experience, had never done it. Riding adventure bikes and dual sports is all about compromising. I would say my bike right now is set up pretty close to 50-50. And that's the compromise that I chose for the kind of riding that I do. Doesn't mean that I'm off-road all the time, but it means I can do both on-road and off-road riding. I mean, I'm just as capable off-road as I am on-road with the way that I have the bike set up. It was the same kind of setup that I did on my WR250R, and that bike I rode from Boise, Idaho, all the way out to Enumclaw, Washington. And then I went and I rode off-road at Tahuya in Washington with Jake for a week. And then when that was over, I rode the bike all the way back to near Boise, Idaho. And I didn't stop 4 or 5 times along the way, obviously for fuel, but I didn't sleep anywhere. That was a straight through ride, and it was all on highways and interstates. And you know what? When I got home, I changed my oil. Everything was fine. The bike was perfect. There was no issues with the bike at all. I did change my tires before doing the return home trip, because the ride out and the riding off road for a week, and then the ride from Tahuya back to Enumclaw, those tires were done. I didn't really want to have a tire related issue on my way back to Boise, which it's a video for another time, but I ended up having an issue. But we're going to move on, and we're going to try and stay on track this time, because now I've been recording for 35 minutes and I have probably 8 minutes worth of usable footage. What I find fun about adventure and dual sport riding, I love having stories. I love having experiences. I have more stories from the 3.5 years of my dual sport and adventure riding than I have of the other 7 years of just street riding. You know, most of my street riding stories are, yeah, this turn was super sick, and this turn was super sick, and I did not follow the speed recommendations through this turn or along this stretch of road. Or they're not great stories. And not that I'm nice either. I could be a jerk. I don't know. When I started riding dual sports and I started riding ADV bikes, and I started meeting other people that were riding dual sports and riding adventure bikes and getting out there, they're all super welcoming. They all want to talk to you. They all want to tell stories. They all want to tell you about rides that they went on and experiences that they had while they were on the bike. And not even always while they were on the bikes. This one guy told me that I ran into, told me a story about a fishing trip that he went on. It had nothing to do with riding motorcycles, but we were talking while taking a break on a ride, and he started talking about this fishing trip that he went on. It was awesome. And he was just talking to me like I was a buddy that he's had for years. I know there are people out there that have this elitist outlook on the type of adventure bike that they have versus the type of adventure bike you have. And if you have a dual sport, it's not really an adventure bike, so why are you talking to me? Those people are out there, but I think there are far fewer of them than there are in the other types and groups of riders. That is what I find fun about this kind of, about this aspect of motorcycle riding. Let's see. Yeah, my notes say, so I've ridden with guys on 1250 GS Adventures. I have ridden with guys on MX bikes and cross country bikes that are, riding trails that I'm riding. I've never run into somebody on a 1250 GS Adventure riding the trails that I ride. But I've run into them on Forest Service roads, and I've run into them on when I was in Idaho, I used to run into adventure riders all the time because they're riding everywhere down there. And so I'd be out on my WR 250R, and I'd run into somebody on a Tiger 900 or a GS 1250, or guys on big KTM adventure bikes, all out riding the same stuff that I'm riding. And, when we stopped, they'd love to talk. We'd all hang out and talk for 10, 15 minutes, and we get back on the bikes and keep riding. So it's awesome being in a community that allows me to talk to all kinds of people, because I'm a social person. I like talking to people. I like telling stories. I like hearing stories. I also love camping. And yes, you can camp off a cruiser, and yes, you can camp off a sport bike. And I have seen documentaries of people that have done it. I've watched whole video series on YouTube and other media of people doing just that. But they aren't camping in the same places that I can take my KLR and go camp. They aren't camping in the same places that I could take my WR and go camp. and they aren't doing the same kind of riding that I can do on the KLR and the WR. So yeah, that's going to wrap up that question, and we're going to try to stay on track when we move on to the next question that nobody has asked that I decided to throw in here and give my opinion on, because this whole video is all just my opinion. So if you don't like it, hit the like button and subscribe and leave a comment, and I will try and reply. So, why might somebody else enjoy riding adventure bikes or dual sport bikes? If you enjoy having an experience, not just going for a ride or going for a drive, but having an experience, experiencing what's happening around you, experiencing the sounds, experiencing the smells, and just the unexpected things that happen when you get out there and you ride. Experiences happen more frequently on a dual sport or an adventure bike than, in my experience, they've happened on sport bikes and cruisers. If you enjoy an adventure, if you enjoy putting a tent and some extra underwear and toilet paper is very important, and you like just throwing that stuff on a bike or on a bag on your back and getting out there into the middle of nowhere and just experiencing what you're doing, you would love riding adventure bikes and dual sport bikes. Or I think you would love. I can't assume, but I love it. And in my opinion, if you enjoy that other stuff and you enjoy motorcycles, you got to enjoy motorcycles as well. If you enjoy that stuff and you love riding motorcycles, that's like the peak, right? All the way up here at the top is the dual sport and ADV community, because you can travel on road, you can travel off road, you can set your bike up to do anything that you want it to do within the compromise that you have, within the bike's capabilities, that is within the compromise that you've picked. I would not take a 1250 GSA and throw street tires on it and go do track days on that bike. It would do it. They're capable of doing it. They're not going to be as fast as the sport bikes out there. So I wouldn't do it. I would not take a CRF 450L, throw saddlebags on it, and go ride the interstate from the West Coast to the East Coast. I would do off-road, the Transamerica Trail. I would ride from the West Coast to the East Coast on a CRF 450L. But I would not do that ride all highways all the way there. It's just that motorcycle as a base motorcycle is not built for that application. So it doesn't matter how you set it up. It's not going to be as comfortable doing that as it would doing the same thing, but all off-road. There's a lot of bikes between the GS 1250 Adventure and the CRF 450L that have different levels of compromise along the scale. And there's a couple other videos out there of people who have broken down by weight or broken down by displacement where those bikes fit into kind of the scale that is the ADV scale. There is an ADV or a dual sport bike out there for everybody. If you prefer riding street, but you want to tackle some gravel roads, there's a bike for that. If you prefer really aggressive off-road riding, single track, enduro trails, you know, the stuff where you're launching your bike over trees to get around obstacles, do that kind of stuff, but you need something that's street legal to get you from one trail to the next trail, there's a dual sport for that. If you are doing the occasional gravel road and you do tons of highway miles, there's an adventure bike for that. And just because you don't go off-road a whole ton does not mean that you're not having an adventure. You're still out there having an adventure. It's just a different adventure than somebody else is having. There's nothing wrong with that. So I am going to try to wrap this video up by saying that if you enjoy watching me ramble, and if you enjoy watching me go off script way more than I should be going off script, even though I took the time to type everything up. I mean, look at this. Look at this. I took the time to type everything up and so that I could read it, so that I wouldn't ramble. Well, I ended up rambling because there's a lot of hot air up here and it escapes out through here and it makes words. So yeah, if you guys like my video, throw a like up on the video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the bell too, because then you'll know when I drop another video. We'll call this a video. This is just ramblings with me. And if there's anything you guys want me to talk about, not that anybody cares about my opinion, but if there's anything you want me to talk about or you're interested in hearing my thoughts on it, let me know. Leave a comment. Throw me shoot me a message. I don't know. I haven't figured out how messaging on YouTube works or anything like that. But shoot me a message on Facebook and let me know if there's something that you want me to talk about that you guys would be interested in seeing. If you enjoyed this and you want to see more videos like this, let me know that too. And yeah, subscribe, hit the bell. Let's see if I can make up for not saying that in any of my other videos by saying it 400 times in this one. All right, guys. Thanks for sticking around and sitting through the whole video. And I will get this thrown up on YouTube and yeah, we'll go from there. I look forward to hearing from you guys. Have a great day and ride safe.